Hello, my name is Abigail, and on this channel, I talk about books and things that I'm passionate about. And right now, that happens to be putting up a video every day in the month of October, but also my September stats. Let's get into what I read in the month of September, my stats, my ratings. This month is so spread out. I have a 1 star, at least 1 star, one star. Let me see. Let's take a look. Let's take a little gander. I have 1 1 star, 2 2 stars, 2 2.5 stars, 2 3 stars, 1 3.5 star, 7 4 stars, and 1 4.5 stars. So let's go ahead and hop into this. All of these books that you're getting ready to see, you'll be able to, I think I've vlogged most of these, if not all of these. So if you haven't seen it yet, you will shortly. We're starting off with what I read that I had started in late August and ended up finishing in early September. We're starting off with Kristen Hanna, The Four Winds. I gave this book a 3 star. And the reason that I gave it a 3 star as opposed to a 4 star or just like any other rating is because this book for me was fine. I think that it hit emotionally, but the problem is that I won't spoil it. If you have not heard of The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna, this is set in Texas in 1921. I have forgotten pretty much the entirety of this book. And that's really why it's a 3 star. That's part of the reason it's a 3 star. So let's see if I can jog my memory. So Elsa and her husband have some children, and Elsa's child becomes ill, and so she has to move to California to get away from the dust in Texas. That they moved to California, so, and it says for a better life for her family, so I'm assuming that it's not that much of a spoiler, but I digress. This is a 3 star. This is my first Kristen Hanna. I own another one, and God, I'm hoping that that one hits more than this one did. I think that given the circumstances that I read this book under, I think I would like to give this another shot someday, but that day is not today. And it probably won't be this year or, quite frankly, anytime soon. Moving on to the next book that I read that I started late August and finished in early September. That is The Drive-In. The Drive-In is this book right here. Quite frankly, it's not worth seeing, but was a 1 star. What is this book about? It's called The Drive-In, a B movie with blood and popcorn made in Texas. This is by Joe R. Lansdale. So what is this book about? It is about a group of people who go to a drive-in movie theater and they get stuck there because of some catastrophic event, and they're stuck there for a long time, and all they have to eat is candy, and like they're killing each other, and they're like openly having sex, and they're also lots of swear words, and there's like this weird like prophetic thing happening, and there's like this popcorn king who spits out popcorn corn kernels and they're his teeth. And anyway, long story short, it was a 1 star. Moving on to better and more wonderful things, the next book that I read in the month of September was a 4 star, and that is Play Nice by Rachel Harrison. This book is about a girl who is a social media like influencer. She's a little socialite, and her name is Cleo. So Cleo goes to her, unfortunately, her mother passes away, and she goes to her mother's sort of celebration of life, wake, or funeral, whatever they want to call it. And she learns that she, along with her other 2 sisters, are the benefactor of a home that they once lived in when they were kids. But the issue is they moved away from this house because their mom went crazy. But did she really go crazy? And as we sort of unravel the story without spoiling it, I would say that this book reminds me of Amityville Horror House, but like modernized. So make of that what you will. I really enjoy this. I gave this a 4 stars. I'm really pleased with this. This was my first Rachel Harrison, and I got to read this, I believe, almost a whole month early because I got it on Book of the Month. Basically, the minute that it got here, I began reading it. This was one that I was I think I had pre-ordered, and I ended up canceling my pre-order because I was able to get this before I was able to get the pre-order. So yeah, 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. This is going to start another vlog. So if you've already seen it, fantastic. If it's not up yet, then look forward to People Watching by Hannah Bonham Young. Hannah Bonham Young is an author that I have really enjoyed in the past. I gave this book a 4 star, but her previous book, Out on a Limb. Out on a Limb, I gave a full 5 star. I really, really loved that book with my entire soul. I regularly think about that book. People Watching by Hannah Bonham Young actually got a 4.5 star. So this book is about Prue, who is sort of the town's darling. The town that is Baysville. It's a charming tourist town in northern Ontario, but Prue is sort of the darling of the town. She's dealing with a lot with her family. Her mother has dementia or Alzheimer's or some sort of memory loss issue here. I don't recall which one, but she's dealing with that. And then Milo comes into town, and Milo was previously a part of this town, but he left. He went, sowing his wild oats as one does, and he comes back to the town because his brother is opening a brewery, and they use their 119, which is essentially like a 911 button reverse. It's for family. So he comes home to help his brother open the brewery, and in the process, Milo and Prudence come together, and it's a really good book. 4.5 stars. It doesn't quite hit the same as Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. I have thought that she would be a good author for me for quite some time since having read Out on a Limb, but I never got around to picking up another book, and I'm so glad that I got to read People Watching. I think I read this pretty close to the release date too, so I was really enjoying being a part of that whole thing that was going on with it feels different to read a book when it's releasing. Like, it feels exciting to go to the store like the day of, the day after, 2 days after, whatever, and pick up a book off the shelf that just released. It feels different, and it always hits, but this one especially hit. People Watching by Hannah Bonham Young is a 4.5 star. The next book that I read in the month of September was If It Makes You Happy. If It Makes You Happy is a book about Cliff, who is sort of this small town's darling. And in this one, Michelle is the one who's coming back into town. Once again, we're dealing with some family issues. Michelle's mother has passed away, and it is up to Michelle to come and run the Bird Inn. It's like a bed and breakfast that her mother owned and ran. And Cliff is the adorable neighbor who is a baker, and he's got 2 beautiful daughters. And Michelle finds herself falling in love, and it's set in the 1990s. It's set in 1997, and I will say that these 2 books here, and then the next one I'll talk about, definitely set the vibes for autumn for me. So I'm really glad that I read them, and I'm glad that I read them probably in succession. I'm happy with the way that I read them because it really sort of set me up for um like the vibes, the feels. But I will say that it pisses me off that I am viewing this 1997 book, this book set in 1997, as a historical thing, because I am not much younger than the year 97. And so it hurts that my birth year is fucking historical. But yes, this book was a really good book. I actually started this on audio and quickly realized that I would almost rather read this with my eyeballs. And so I started tandem reading because I used a credit on Everand to listen to this. And so I was tandem reading, and then I ended up just fully reading it with my eyeballs. I think this has actually only ever happened twice where I picked up a book on audio and decided I'd actually rather read this physically. And this is the first time that I like felt it in my gut. Like the last time that this happened, I started it and was like, stop, I'd rather read it. Let me wait till I can get a physical copy, and then never picked it back up. Whereas this one, it felt like I should have been reading it the whole time. I don't know how to describe it, but this book and this one, the two of them, like the small towns, the vibes of them, they feel very much like I wish I lived there. Like the whole everybody knows everybody, everybody's helping everybody. It feels like it feels so real and so visceral, and I'm so pleased with both of these books. And then we follow it up with one that has the same small town vibes, but just not quite as good. And that is going to be The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore. This book it's divisive, to say the least. There are people that love it and there are people that hate it. And I fall somewhere in the middle, as I gave this book a grand whopping total of 2.5 stars. Literally dead center. So here are my thoughts. This is supposed to be a grumpy sunshine. Okay. We have Jeannie, whose aunt, once again, small town, autumn vibes. Jeannie's aunt has gone away to retire, and she is left to sort of manage in her aunt's absence. And so then Logan, who is a local farmer, who is it's supposed to be grumpy sunshine. Like, check this out. It says, Logan is a local farmer who avoids Dream Harbor's gossip at all costs, but Jeannie's arrival disrupts Logan's routine, and he wants nothing to do with the irritably upbeat new girl except that he finds himself inexplicably drawn to her. Will Jeannie's happy-go-lucky attitude win over the grumpy but gorgeous Logan? It's not really grumpy meets sunshine if he's grumpy to her face, but like inside he's all sunshine towards her. It just the vibes that the back gives does not represent the novel. And it mentions that he's a farmer, but this man did not farm one thing. I didn't see a tractor, nary a plow in sight. The only farming-esque thing that was even mentioned in this book was like the fact that he had animals, and animals live on farms. Okay? Like the Pumpkin Spice Cafe that Jeannie is running in her aunt's absence, she talks about her job. She talks about work. Things are mentioned when it comes to work. And then when you look at this one, you've got both of them mentioning their day-to-day lives. And you look at this one and you have Cliff, who mentions being a baker, and she's mentioning her aunt's or her mother's inn. Like their lives are mentioned. It's not just all romance. Of the three of these books that I actually read for a Gilmore Girls style vlog, this one felt the most Gilmore Girls to me because the town meeting that happened in this felt very Gilmore Girls. But either way, I just feel like Logan's entire being was there to be the love interest for Jeannie, and that just didn't interest me at all. So it was a 2.5 star. Moving on, the next book that I completed in the month of September is When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. This was my first Nat Cassidy. I really enjoy his writing. I have long thought that I would be reading Nestlings. I ended up picking up Rest Stop at one point, which is another book by him, but that's like a splatterpunk style horror novel. And that one just, for me, I'm not that I have anything against that type of subgenre of horror. It's just that I knew that Nat Cassidy's writing, if I was going to pick it up, I shouldn't start with that one. So I ended up wanting to read either Nestlings or When the Wolf Comes Home. And ultimately, I am so pleased that When the Wolf Comes Home is the book that I picked up. I ended up giving this one a 4 star, a 4 solid star. This book, it deals with horror in a way that is like it's not just like there's a big scary thing that's coming at you, though you can probably very obviously tell from the cover and from the title of the book that When the Wolf Comes Home does have something to do with a wolf. And if you use your context clues, you might even discover that it has something to do with a werewolf. But this book does not just deal with the werewolf. It deals with grief. It deals with trauma. It deals with anxiety. This book, it did something to me. And since reading this book, there has not been a day when I have not thought about this book. And the more that I think about this book, and the more that this book kicks around in my head, the more I wonder if this should be a higher rating. And I think it might need to be bumped up. I'm going to leave it for now, but Nat Cassidy's writing makes me want to pick up more of his books. And that's obviously a good thing. I always want to find an author who I enjoy, whose storytelling, whose writing, whose characters feel real to me in the same way that like a Hannah Bonham Young or like a Taylor Jenkins Reid. I would not equate Nat Cassidy to either Hannah Bonham Young or Taylor Jenkins Reid, but the way that he writes makes me want to pick up everything he's ever read. And it's an interesting feeling because I knew that I was going to like his writing before picking up anything he's ever read, just based on the way that people discussed his books. And so when I picked up When the Wolf Comes Home and not only agreed with the masses, but like had feelings, 4-star. If you have not read this, please pick this up before somebody accidentally spoils it for you, because whew, that was a book. All right, that was a book. The next book that I read in the month of September was, is that right? Did I really read that one next? I guess so. The next book that I read in the month of September was, yeah, I guess I did. All right. Was Forever Yours. Oh no, sorry. Yours Forever by Robbie Dorman. I have an entire blog dedicated to this video and or dedicated to this book, and I believe it's already up on my channel. So if you are interested in my thoughts on this, outside of just a quick synopsis, please go ahead and click on that video, because there is absolutely nothing that I can say in this video that will come close to the raw, visceral reaction that I had to this book. Granted, when comparing it to the Texas Drive-In, this definitely deserves a 2-star over a 1-star. But this book, my description of this book is it feels reminiscent of Purgatory. And it feels reminiscent of things that I have read in the past. It feels nostalgic, like things that happen in this book I feel like have been done in other books. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because truly there's no real unique anything anymore. It's just like how you do it. Everything's already been done, but I me and this book did not get along. It took me so long. Once I decided that I was going to read this book, it took me so long to actually open the book, and that's really unfortunate because I paid full price for this, $24.99, and this was also the star of my most recent. I went to an independent bookstore, bought a book that's independently published, and read it. Yeah, I don't think Robbie Dorman and I are besties for the restie. The other thing that I will mention, and this is like, I have, I mentioned it in the vlog, but like, I've been putting off talking about this, or I had been putting off talking about this, because I didn't want some like dude bro coming on and telling me that if you don't get it, like, it's obviously not for you, because it's really not for me. And I don't know why, because on paper, this should have been something that I enjoyed. I don't know if it's the writing, I don't know if it was the storytelling, but something about this and I were not good. We didn't mix well, but there are several other books by this author. Maybe I'll give another shot to his writing, but also I'm perfectly content if I never pick up a book like this again. And if I don't, so be it. I am not worried about it. The next book that I read in the month of September is Cash. This book and I took our motherfucking time. I started this book in August. Yep, I started this book on August 26th, and I did not finish it until September 21st. I started it for a vlog that you will see, whether it's up already or whether it's coming up soon. It was a Texas vlog. I started it for Texas vlog, and I did not complete it until like a month later, pretty much. And I don't know why. I think I touched on it in the vlog. Basically, I feel like maybe the reason that this book and I took our time was because there's another sort of small town ranch style romance that was coming out in September that I didn't even read. But I thought that I think that cowboy romances and I, when we are good, oh baby, we're good. Like when we are getting along, everything is phenomenal. But if I'm not in the mood for a cowboy romance, it just doesn't hit. And I don't know if this is a case where the cowboy romance and I didn't get along or if the writing and I didn't get along. I ultimately ended up giving it a pretty decent rating considering I don't necessarily think it's a bad book and I don't think that the writing is bad. I just feel like this book and it could be a case of right book, wrong time. And I gave this a 4 star. I gave that a 4 star. Damn. Yeah, I gave it a 4 star. So I guess I like the ending. I don't know. I remember very little about it. Um, but anyways, so Molly's dad dies. A lot of dead parent vlogs. What the fuck? A lot of dead parent stuff. Even even this one had a dead parent. What the Oh my God. Everything. And that's crazy. Anyways, back to the book. Where'd it go? What did I do with it? Here it is. Molly's dad passes away, and in order to inherit the ranch that her father owned, she needs to spend an entire year on the ranch, working the ranch to sort of earn her inheritance. The foreman is Cash, and Cash is like, I don't want no city girl come up into my ranch telling me what to do. And so they have conflict and turmoil, and that conflict and turmoil turns into hot sex. And that's Cash by Jessica Patterson, everyone. I guess I did like it. I forgot about that. I guess I did. All right, moving on. The next book that I read in the month of September, and this is going to be the final physical copy that I have to show you, is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I really love this book. I think I gave this like a 4 star. I think, let me see. I gave this book a 4 star. I gave this book a 4 star. This book got a 4 star, and this is about Misery, who is a vampire, and that's vampire with a Y, okay? That's Vampyre, okay? And she is the daughter of a high ranking vampire, and she's already been used as collateral once, and she's going to be used at this time to be married off to the werewolf alpha, and his name is, I forgot, his name is Lo. And Lo, well, I mean, he's an alpha, okay? And Misery and Alpha are sort of thrust together in more ways than one, and they are to be wed. It is an arranged marriage. It's basically a political marriage. And, well, one thing leads to another. And we learned what nodding was, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, Ali Hazelwood, Bride, Low, and Misery. 4 stars. The final books that I read in the month of September was a collection by Amazon called Scared Sexy. Scared Sexy consisted of a total of 6 books. I did do an entire vlog on this, so I'm not going to spend very much time talking about them, but there were a total of 6 books in this collection. The first one that I read was Hot for Slayer, and that is by Miss Ali Hazelwood. That was a 4 star. This is a vampire slayer and a vampire, and one thing leads to another. And then the next one that was in this collection was Falling, and this is by Christina Lauren. This is about a fallen angel, and I gave that one a 3 star. The next one was Spicy Little Curses by JT Gessinger. I gave this a 4 star. The next one was Space Vampire by Ruby Dixon, and this is Ice Planets Barbarians meets Vampirism. So, anyways, it was a 3-star. It was okay. And then Beautiful Nightmare, and this is by Katie Robert. I give this one a 2-star. This is about a sleep paralysis demon who wants to feed off of fear and then feeds off of lust. It was fine. It was a 2-star. It felt really underdeveloped, and that's, I understand it's a 52-page Kindle book, but it just felt like I needed more. And that I'm saying that knowing full well that it was 52 pages, but there were other books that were 52 pages in this little collection here that felt more developed. And then the final book in this collection was All of My Boyfriends Are Monsters, and I gave this one a 2-star, and this is by Kimberly Lemming. I didn't understand it. And that's really all I have to say. So overall, the entire collection got a 3-star. I do love these Amazon collections because there's something so awesome about, and like some people would be like, I would rather read a big fat book, and that's fine. I love that for you personally. Love that for you. But what is the difference between reading 6 books that have 52 pages or more and reading one book that has 300 pages if we're both reading the same amount of pages? And sometimes you just need like a little palette cleanser. Like when you're going to the store and you're buying perfume and you're looking at all these beautiful perfume bottles and you're sniffing them individually, sniffing them, and then all of a sudden you go nose blind. You need that coffee bean to like reawaken your senses. Sometimes all you need is a 52-page smut book that makes you question whether or not you're attracted to vampire slayers or space vampires, or maybe cursed men do it for you. And you know what? So be it. This is it. These are the 9 physical books and the 7 Kindle books that I read in the month of September. We had a pretty decent reading month as far as like high ratings, but this is also the most spread out ratings that I've had all year, with me actually getting a 1-star and a 2-star. So actually I think there was three 2-stars that I bestowed upon these books in this month, but I also had a couple standouts. So I think all in all, when you factor the fact that some of my favorite books that I've read all year occurred in this month, I'd say we're doing pretty okay. If this stack of books interests you, there is a vlog for everything here. So check those out, and I will see you for another day in the month of October, where I put out a video every day in the month of October. And I will see you tomorrow.